Good morning to you all. I hope you enjoyed your bonus day off of school that we had yesterday. Glad it's a lot warmer, and we're back in God's house. Welcome to chapel. We have a three-part series that we are doing in this very, very shortened week that we now have. And we're studying a person in the Bible known as Gideon. Gideon is in the Old Testament. Maybe you don't know much about him. He doesn't have a whole book written about him. He's a little sliver of the book of Judges. And we're going to take our 3 days that we have the rest of this week and dig into his story. And as we do, each day is going to be 3 different key points that we're going to look at. And you see those popping up on the screen right now. About God encouraging us through the life of Gideon to live a life of courage, boldness in the face of things going wrong. Tomorrow, we'll end up talking on living a life of perseverance. That as things continue to go wrong, you don't give up and know that God, in God's amazing way, is going to get us through. And then our final day on Friday, to live a life of integrity. So always doing what's right, even when others aren't, even when you don't think it's going to work. So that's where we're going this week. But to get us started, I wanted to ask you if you've seen a guy or person do this. Have you seen someone in a circus or something spin plates? It's pretty amazing if you've never seen it. And so what they'll do is they have all these poles, and they kind of wobble a little bit to help keep them up there. They pop a plate, and they spin it, and they get another one, and they spin it, and they get another one, and they just keep going and try to get like 10 plates or 12 plates. But eventually, the ones down there start slowing down, so they have to run over here really quickly and spin it again, right? And they try to get all the plates spinning at one time, and it's near impossible. Doesn't that feel like life? That we have so many responsibilities that are put on you in school and outside of school and friendships and health choices. So many different things that we're trying to spin at the same time and get right at the same time. And you've got your math class, and you've got your science class, and you've got your English class and religion class and whatever other classes you have. And maybe you've got math test. I got a math test over here, right? And you run back over here, and we got a sports game going on, and I got to talk to parents if you're in the dorm, or you got chores at home, and got a history test over here, and my friend group is messed up, and got to spend time in that, and just, is it hard? Like, man, to get everything balanced out in life, and it's just not easy, and it wasn't easy for the life of Gideon. And what we're going to talk about in this 3-part series is that God, in God's amazing way, balances life when it doesn't feel like God will balance life. And we're going to do that by studying Judges. All right, so here we go. Here's the stage. This is what's going on. Whenever the Israelites planted their crops, the Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern peoples, so at least 2, 4 different nations would invade the Israelites whenever they planted their crops. And so they're trying to get the food to live off of, and they go, thank you very much. We'll let the food grow now. We will eat all the food. And the Israelites got weaker and weaker and weaker. And by the way, this happened year after year after year. They ruined the crops. They didn't spare a living thing. Israel got weaker and more desolate and more broken. This is the context of what's going on. But it says ... It says that they came up with their livestock and their tents like swarms of locusts. Some places overseas, they'll have locust infestations, and it looks like this. Ugh. Could you imagine going through that to school? Scooping down and getting a handful of locusts? This is what it felt like as those nations were descending upon Israel. Talk about brokenness. Life wasn't balanced. And it got worse. Well, what's worse than 120,000 plus people invading you for like 7 years straight? Well, it says this, it got worse. It was impossible to count them, although they guesstimated about 120,000. Impossible to count their camels. Now, maybe you don't know how weaponized camels were back then, or how powerful and strong and fast they were. So let's put this into understanding with Mr. Schacht. All right, Mr. Schacht, who is the fastest human on the planet who holds the world record in the 100-meter dash? Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt, well done. There it is. He ran the 100-meter dash in under 10 seconds. All right, seniors, who is your best person at math? The first name I hear calls it. Beekman. All right, Beekman. Beekman, how many miles per hour was Usain Bolt running? We did not set that up, people. I mean, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive right there. 23 miles per hour. Now, let's put this into perspective. He did that for 10 seconds, and his body almost exploded, right? And he had to shut it down. Let's talk about camels. First of all, camels are massive. They're huge. They can sprint 40 miles per hour. Camels can run 25 miles per hour sustained for an hour. Camels can travel 100 miles without needing any water. They're the stealth bombers, so to speak, of the day. And there were so many of them, they couldn't count them. Talk about an impossible situation. Friends, don't you feel in your life there's times where it's impossible to balance, keep spinning all the responsibilities that are in front of you? What is that for you now? What was that before for you? So we're going to do something. I've done this every once in a while. I'm going to have you talk to your partner on this for a second. We're going to do what we did before, which is I'll give you like 20-some seconds to talk to your partner. When I raise my hand, you raise your hand and we'll instantly quiet down. You've done this beautifully before. Let's do it again. When you were in grade school, what was something that you thought was impossible, that would never happen? Talk to your partner. Go. I couldn't hear you. Thank you for that. That was an explosion of you guys talking right away. But I'm guessing for a lot of you, what you thought was impossible was something that you ended up getting over, or you moved beyond, or it fixed itself, or you got peace with the situation, because that's what God so often does. I brought that up so I can bring this up. And this you don't talk to your neighbor on, and you talk to yourself and God. What plate can't you keep spinning? You're exhausted. You just can't do it anymore. Or it crashed and it broke, and you're like, I don't know how that's going to be better. What is the impossible thing for you in your life that you're staring down? For Gideon and for the Israelites, it was 4 other nations that came in year after year after year, and they were absolutely destroyed, and it looked impossible. But that's where God intervened. And we, when we're trusting God, can live then a life of courage. And that's what God is asking Gideon to do, is to live that type of life, a life of courage. So how does this go? Well, this goes in this way, that God so often, when he balances our lives, he does it in very unexpected ways. It's just really cool. A couple quick stories. A buddy of mine, Richard Wensing, seniors heard this story before. I think I told this one already. He was ice skating with his little granddaughter, slipped on the ice, bruised himself. It didn't heal. He goes, what in the world? It won't heal. He went to the doctor, stage 4 cancer. The only reason he knew about it, because it fell. His daughter, who was a nurse, said to me, it's stage 4, it's spread everywhere, he's not going to survive. Guess who survived? Richard. God brought him through. The only way he even knew about it, because he fell. And he was so embarrassed by it in an unexpected way. I don't know if you were my Camp Croy people. Camp Croy, I was there when the tornado hit. My daughter's cabin, Lydia's, was on the left. Tree lands on this side of the cabin. Tree lands on that side of the cabin. Like a tornado smashed through that place. And man, God was showing off on how he had things landing and protected us. God balances life in unexpected ways. A friend of mine was supposed to go to New York on September 10th, 2001, and was scheduled to be on the top of the Twin Towers on the morning of, as soon as the gates opened, the morning of September 11th, 2001. And the night before, she had this eerie feeling in her stomach and said, I'm canceling my trip. God balances our lives in unexpected ways, and he did that with Gideon. Gideon was the lowest of the lowest of the low. Conquered people. His tribe of Israel was the lowest. His family clan inside that tribe was the lowest. Inside of his family, he was the lowest. And God goes to Gideon and goes, Gideon, you're my guy. You're the one who's going to get rid of these 4 different peoples. Imagine the new president of the United States showing up, and all of a sudden a helicopter descends out here and goes, Noah, we're flying you to Ukraine. We're going to drop you in, and you're going to fix the problem that's over there. Be pretty nervous? I'd be pretty nervous too. God picked Gideon. And God looks at Gideon, he says this, people. The angel of the Lord, that's Jesus before he puts on human flesh. The angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon and said this, the Lord is with you, mighty warrior. Did Gideon feel like a mighty warrior? But God saw in him what God would do through him. Let me say that again. God saw in him what God would do through him. And God looks at you, no matter what's in front of you, whatever problem is there that you think can't be fixed. And God says, you're a mighty warrior because he puts a name on you. Child of God. He puts a name on you, forgiven. He puts a name on you, blessed. He puts his name on you. And when God's name is on you, that changes absolutely everything because God works in unexpected ways. God saw what he could do through Gideon. And so he comes to him, he goes, you need to be courageous here. You have to have boldness here. And God says the same of you and me when we face what we think on our own is impossible. He said to him, Gideon, I will be with you. This is what you're going to do. You, lowest of the lowest of the low, you will strike down all the Midianites, leaving none alive. And he was pretty scared until he noticed and remembered one thing. It wasn't him who would be doing it. God would be doing it through him. Friends, what do you see as impossible right before you? What do you think God could never fix? Know this, that God is with you. With him, nothing, absolutely nothing is impossible. And we're going to learn that as we continue this story the rest of the week. This time we'll sing the next song.
Oh,
Let us pray. God of grace, each and every one of us has something in front of us, maybe multiple things in front of us that are impossible. And that's truth. They're impossible on our own. We cannot take on the devil. We'll lose every single time. But with you, there's power. With you, there is peace. With you, we can be courageous because, God, you are always with us. Help us to focus on you and have you then do what you do. Bless us and keep us. Give us peace. In your name we pray.